All right, what is up, everyone? So, my name is Imran. I'm going to try to build an AI agent in this video. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I have like 35 minutes allocated towards it. I have obviously my camera going. I got my handy dandy Codex keyboard right here, super cool. And I'm going to use this and Codex to build an agent. So, um, first things we'll do, we'll click this new right here. Oh, cool. And let's make a new project. Let's make a new project. Let's start from scratch. Let's call it Agent Challenge. Okay. Um, I actually have no plan for this. I just have like one idea. And the idea that I have is that I will even go, hold on one second. Before we do anything, let's turn this up since we're recording. Let's go fast mode. Basically, the idea that I have is that I have a friend who's in like content operations. And essentially, what he does is he has like a system or like a spreadsheet where he goes and like tracks how many views an Instagram reel gets, and like the caption, the time that they posted, how many comments, how many likes, like all these things. Um, so I want to make like an agent that can autonomously track that content and see how it's doing. So yeah, without further ado, let's put this into plan mode. How do I go to plan mode? Oh, this is cool. You can just toggle this up to go into plan mode. Oh, there's actually like another. This is not an ad at all for this thing, but there is like a secret feature. If you like circle, like if oh wait, I broke it. If you spin the joystick in a circle, it opens up a mini game, and then you can play the mini game. You can see me playing it with the joystick, and the mini game like is based on like what you're doing inside of the thread. Anyway, cool. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, I want to build an agent that is used for people who work in content operations. Basically, what content operators do, to my understanding, is that they help like influencers or creators optimize their content and streamline the creation of it. The way that they do this, or one of the ways that they do this, is that they actually need to track the content. So I want to make an agent using the Pi agent framework. That's Pi as in PI. Um, and basically, what I want this agent to do is it needs to be able to take an Instagram page, go to that Instagram page, go to its most recent reels, and scrape the view count, the video title, the time that it was posted, the number of likes, the number of comments, and the caption that was used. And it needs to store it all into a spreadsheet. Um, for the first version, it can just store it in a CSV, but ultimately we'd want it to be stored in a Google Sheet. So in my head, I think the best way to do this is using Pi Agent. If you think there's a way we can use this, we can build this using like Codex or the OpenAI Agents SDK. I'm also open to suggestions there. It doesn't need to use obviously like the best state of the art models because we're just kind of doing like a web scrape. I also think we can use Browserbase for this. That's an assumption that I have. I could be wrong, so let me know what you think. So yeah. All right, let me just release this key and we wait for it to load or to transcribe. Did I lose it all? Oh, we're good to go. All right, let's send it. Cool. So that's gonna think and help us with the planning. The and it's going on fast mode, so hopefully it should be pretty quick. This is like really like how I build anything. I kind of just like hit the microphone. I try to brain dump as much as possible. Um, and then I have a general idea of what needs to happen, but then I let it kind of jump into plan mode and tell me what needs to happen. So let's see what happens here. In the meantime, oh, it's still running. Okay. So it's doing a web search, running a command. I don't know how long this is going to take. Okay, now it's asking us questions. Um, whose Instagram accounts must V1 support? Let's do any public account. Caption first line. Let's make it a simple web app. All right, it's cooking. It's cooking. Yeah, so it's going to tell me something I already know, which is that we should probably use some sort of like web browser, web scraper for this. Let's see what it's doing. Ooh, interesting. Which collection trade-off should V1 use for arbitrary public accounts? I just want to use Playwright. Can I read more? Okay. How important is an actual LLM agent in V1? Use Pi with low-cost model to invoke strict collect/export tools while deterministic code handles data and CSV correctness. We do want it to be agentic. So let me tell it differently. The reason why we want it to be agentic is because some captions could be cleaned up, I guess, maybe. We also want to know how good the content is performing. Both, like, for example, like you can have a piece of content that has like a low amount of views but a lot of comments. I still think that's like a pretty good performing piece of content. Oh wow, the microphone doesn't work in this. I'm cooked. Let's see. Let's just use the Pi orchestrator right now. Actually, no, I want to use OpenAI's Agents SDK. What should the first web app support? On-demand export. All right, it's cooking. So we're building a web app with Playwright from Browserbase and the OpenAI Agents SDK. And sorry, there's a lot of reading here. Just ask me how I should create the API key. In another tab, you guys probably can't see this because I'm not sharing it, but I'm going to go to Browserbase and I'm going to grab a. All right, organization. Wow, you can create the API key here. Default project. Oops, that's my key. Whatever, I'm going to rotate it later after this video. So, suck it. ID and project ID. Oh, it's not actually like. Yes. It doesn't actually give me the. Okay, it didn't actually put the API key in plain text, so you guys don't actually have it. But it's creating it in the environment variable. Cool. That's really cool. I didn't know you could do that. So you can use the OpenAI developers tool to create API keys from within Codex. The more you know. Why is that important? It just means that like I don't have to go to the OpenAI website and like go to the developers portal and then like create a project and then add, like I could just do it straight from Codex. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know you could do that. Not pictured is me in a browser-based tab right now, grabbing some API keys. Cool. So while we're doing that, the really cool thing about this tool is that this OpenAI developers tool like created the key and it also stored it securely, and it's not sending it in the chat. So people, like a lot of people are worried about like security, like API keys getting leaked or whatever. Like you don't really have to worry about that because it handles it securely here. Very cool. Where should the web app run first? Let's use at local first, but should eventually be deployed as a Cloudflare worker. Let's start with the form and then we're gonna change this later. This is really cool. Oh, interesting. Okay. Hold up. If the Cloudflare destination is causing issues um, with the local persistent Instagram browser profile, I think we should scratch that and we should just focus on getting this to run locally first. Disappeared. Well, it's just putting together the plan. So let me see. Use TypeScript from day one, isolate browser access behind a real collector interface, run standard playwright with persistent headed profile locally, and later replace only that adapter with app cloudflare/playwright plus browser run. The OpenAI Agents SDK does run on workers with Node.js_compat, though tracing must be explicitly flushed there. Cloudflare browser sessions can be reused, but manual Instagram authentication and durable cookie handling need separate hosted onboarding design. Okay, it's cooking. So in this step, we're just creating the plan, right? So no code is being written here. That's why it was asking me a bunch of questions. It's just like if you worked at a real company and they were running like a product discovery meeting or like a requirements gathering exercise. It's basically doing that. Pretty cool. So now we wait. I was reading an interesting recap of an interview that was done with a couple members of the Claude Code team. One thing that was one question that they asked like two people that were on the Claude Code team was, does a human review every line of production code in Claude Code? And for basically like what they do now is like for important areas they have like code owners. So if you write the code or if like your agent writes the code, like you're in charge of you're accountable for that code, so you still kind of have to read it, but there is like a GitHub bot that reviews the code to make sure that like it's like following whatever like guidelines the team has. All right, so now we have the finalized plan from Mr. Codex. Let's go ahead and read it. So we're going to store everything in a local SQLite database. Table design looks good. This looks good. I'm really skimming through this. I'm not actually reading it like super precisely. Maybe that's a problem. I don't know. Assumptions. Yeah, this looks actually pretty good. Let's go ahead and implement it. And let's close this sidebar. Okay, so this is going to run and kind of write all this code. In the meantime, what should we do? Do we wait? This video is probably going to be painfully long because we have to sit here and wait for it to be built. But that's okay with me. It's totally okay with me. Okay. Let's use this handy dandy Codex keyboard again, and let's go ahead and create a new chat. So that'll run in the background. And we have this agent challenge we're already working on. Let's make another agent for content operators. One is like they want to help them come up with good ideas. So one thing that these like content operator guys do that from the conversation I had was like they help you figure out what content to write or to create. So one of the ways that they do that is they look at like what your highest performing videos are, or maybe like topics that you know about, and they kind of help you expand and adapt from there. So something that would help me personally is I get on a lot of calls every single day, and I record the calls, and the calls are recorded inside of Callix. So I want to take some of the insights from those calls and I want to turn them into content topic ideas. So let's do that. Again, let's jump right into plan mode and let's go. Okay, so I take intro calls for my day job. Essentially, what we do is we build a service, or we have like a cohort where we can help people go from idea to product to revenue in 6 weeks. We're usually helping founders who are working full time and this is their first time building a startup. In these intro calls, these are kind of effectively sales calls in the sense that we're trying to vet people and figure out if they're a good fit for our program. So what ends up happening on these calls is that I run like a really deep discovery. And although not everyone closes, I tend to learn a lot about the founders and what they're struggling with through these calls. For example, yesterday I ran like 9 of these calls, and the notes for almost all of them are inside of Callix. So I want to create an agent using Codex that basically analyzes all of my historical Callix calls that fit this category. So as long as they have like intro in the title. And it tells me some of the main bottlenecks that these potential customers are having. And it should give me like 10 to 15 content ideas, like taglines. They can be questions. They could be like 2 or 3 sentence ideas. It should give me content ideas for how I can address that audience and get in front of them and really understand like their pain points and solve their problems before they even come to me with them. So for more context on the calls themselves, usually what happens is people join, I ask them about how far along they are with their company, and then I help them get like unblocked on whatever it is they're stuck on. So there's a lot of really valuable information in there. So the input here would be like a Callix API key, and then we should have an agent kind of take the transcripts of the calls and take those and turn those into like an understanding of what types of problems people have. And they could be like psychological too. Like, does this person have a limiting belief? Do they like doubt themselves? Are they afraid to commit? Is there something more logistical? Like, do they not know how to get in front of their customers? Or do they not know how to build their MVP, right? Any of those hesitations. And then we should, from that, like the next step would be for the agent to analyze all those transcripts, figure out what these people's problems are, and then give me those like content ideas. So we could call them hooks, for example. Ultimately, later on down the line, those will turn themselves into LinkedIn posts and emails and YouTube videos. But for now, let's just get those hook ideas. Yeah, they just rambled for like 3 minutes about the problem. But that's how I use, and I just keep this thing in my hand, just like this. That's how I use Codex. I just talk to it about my problems and what I want to build. I put it into plan mode, and then I hit the Codex button. Very cool. Oh, this is cool. So you can see like the top ones are blue because those are the agents that are actively running. And if it needs my input, it'll turn yellow. And then if it doesn't need my input and it's done, it'll turn green. And if something breaks, it'll turn red. And then I can swap back and forth between them. So I can go back and forth between them. Like this one's still going. It's ripping like 2,000 lines of code. Cool. So now we're building a system for me to take existing calls and turn them into hooks. We're building a system for me to analyze like reels. Use existing, that's fine. You can also steer it too. So I can be like, there's another project in this repo too. So just be mindful of that. Make sure that both of these projects or agents can live in the same repo. And you can steer it here. Basically what steering means is that you can inject like a prompt in between the tool calls. So here it loaded a tool and then it searched the web and then I kind of steered it here. So I can add this in before the next tool call. So whenever this web search is done, it'll add in this, this prompt to kind of steer the agent as like a user input. And we can do 2,000 lines of code. Crazy. Let's see what we can. Oh, it won't even show me the code yet. RIP. How should this separate Callix app? Local environment file. How should the new app retain locally after a run? I want to call metadata. I don't really need the raw transcripts. I could be wrong though. What else? So the reason why I only need the hooks here or like the video ideas is because I've already created a skill that helps me write LinkedIn posts in my own like writing style. And I've already created a skill that helps me write emails in my own writing style. So I can just later on chain it into those skills. And I can actually add those skills into the agent. I don't need to yet, but I could later. All right, so these are just going to run now. This one's probably going to ask you some questions. Drink some water in the meantime. So we're coming up with content ideas. We're analyzing content for how it performs. What else can we do? Do you see why it's so tempting to want to create multiple agents at the same time? Like, you got this whole process running, and it's like, now I'm just waiting. So I jump to the other one. Maybe I'm going to play a little game right now. Oh, this is like the snake game. This is cool. Okay. Okay. Cool. Too easy, bro. All right, I'm gonna crash to the wall so I can keep track of these agents. Insufficient quota. Oops, let me go fix the billing. Open AI Playground. Or is it Open AI API dashboard? All right, you guys don't see it. It's on my other screen, but basically I'm logging in right now to the API platform, and I'm making sure we have money. Important step, make sure you have credits to use this stuff. 75640. trying to find the billing settings right now. Oh, switch organization. Personal. API keys. Usage. I'm not showing it to you guys because I don't want you guys to see the billing stuff. Oh, go to billing. Okay, add to credit balance, $10. Let's add that. Confirm payment. All right, this one's done. Oh, they're both done. Okay, I'm just adding credits. Okay, payment successful. Very cool. So here's what I did. So I've just added credits to my OpenAI API account. Can you test it to make sure that that wasn't the only blocker? Let's load in. Okay, and now let's swap back to the other one. This looks fine. I skimmed it, but it looks fine. Now they're both running again. So important step for this Callix one, I have to make sure that I add the Callix API key into the .env local, which I will do shortly. I just don't want to show it to you guys. Nice. So the agents are agenting. Okay, let's see if it's now working. I'm gonna have to bully it. Please start the app in the background. Sometimes you gotta bully it and just tell it like, hey, just do the thing that I asked you to do. And then it might do it. Cool. All right, moment of truth, guys. Allegedly, it is running in the background. So let's go ahead and click this. Woohoo! Open Instagram and sign in. All right, you guys can't see it, but it's asked me to sign in. I have a really bad habit of reading my 2FA codes out loud. Thank God I'm not live streaming. Cool. So I'm logged into Instagram. You guys can't see it, but I'm logged in. And then let's pick a creator. OMG, Adrian. I don't want to get banned, so we're just gonna do like the 6 most recent. And then the agent is starting. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if it works. Okay, we got an error. Oh no. Down to debug. We ran into an issue. And we wait. One thing I noticed when running it is that it was navigating through the pages way too quick. I noticed that it was navigating through the pages way too quick. We might have to slow it down to avoid detection. Can we add like a delay in between the clicks? Oh, if you guys see this little cursor, this is the Codex cursor. So it's using my computer right now. Let's make sure we steer it too. Also, please test it before you tell me it's completed. Thank you. We need to make sure it works at an API level first, and I'm already logged into the persistent browser, so you should have a session that you can work off of. Steer. Let's check up on the other agent. Cool. 1,500 lines of code being written. Let's go. Let's see how much of my usage is remaining. We haven't even touched that much usage. 93%. It didn't use Browserbase, I noticed. So we can ask it a question about that later, but kind of ticks me off that it didn't. Anyone who tells you they're one-shotting things off of a 2-minute voice note is wrong. Things always break. Codex just one-shotted this. No, it didn't, bro. Don't lie. Don't lie to us. You're not that good. Or maybe you just didn't test it. I'm also probably going to change this user experience because this kind of sucks. Like, it just looks really ugly. Like I don't need all this. There's a lot of bloat here. Just to recap, the thing that makes an agent is that it has memory, it has tool calling, it has skills, and it's all wrapped up in an LLM. Okay, you guys can't see it, but it actually just opened up a browser window, which is really cool. So Chromium is controlling it. Persistent session is still alive. Let's see what it's doing. Cool, it went to Adrian's page. It's struggling. You guys can't see it because it's open in another window, but it just crashed on the browser. So the Reels page is opening up well. It's opening up properly, but I see that the agent is not able to click into the individual Reels. So that might be the problem. It's like not clicking into the individual links. So the grid loaded fine though. I don't know why you're saying the grid didn't load that quickly. I think it loaded fine. But where I didn't see you individually click, I didn't see the agent individually click into any of the links or any of the Reels. All right, the other agent is cooking right now. Oh, we forgot to steer it. Oh, it's working. Oh, never mind. never mind. Please ignore that steer because you were able to open up the individual reel, but I think it kicked you out because you were going too quickly. Maybe I'm giving it conflicting advice right now. Maybe that's not the right thing to do. All right, other agent is complete. Cool. I'm trying to read this, but also at the same time, like the agent is running on a browser window next to me, so it's kind of hard to keep track. Very cool though. It's happening. For this one, I need to add an API key for Callix. So let me go ahead and do that. Of course, I'm not going to show you guys that because I know there's some evil people out there that want my API keys. You will not get my API keys. Those are mine. Okay. Settings, developers, API keys, new key. Oh, this is really cool. You can just click this and open it up in your favorite terminal. I'm not going to show it to you. But yeah. I forgot how to use Vim. That's how bad the situation has gotten. What do we have to say? Callix _ API _ key. Callix _ API _ key equals sign. Oh. So I'm so dumb. I mapped my equal sign to my whisper flow or my super whisper. So I have to take that off. Skip this version. Because I wasn't using the equal sign for a long time, so I didn't really think I needed it. Settings. Here we go. Configuration. Push to talk. Get rid of that. Cool. It should be good. Insert equals, and then paste the API key. Escape : WQ exclamation point. Nice. I have added in the Callix API key. Can you run the agent and make sure it works? Did it not take my text? I added in the API key for Callix. Can you run it and make sure it works? Cool. Nice. Okay, so you guys can't see it, but basically, like, there's another tab on my screen where it's like it just keeps firing open like a Chromium window, and it's doing the scrape on its own. which is incredibly distracting, but that's okay. In the meantime, let's see if this intro call agent is working. Yeah, whenever I see someone saying that they're like one-shotting an agent, this is the reason why I don't buy it. Because I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like even if you're very descriptive about what you want, it's very rare that you can just like one-shot an entire agent. Maybe I'm just bad at it, but I don't think I'm bad at it. I mean, I don't think there's much to be good at. I think you just need to know what technologies to choose. Like, one thing I noticed is like we specifically mentioned Browserbase, but it didn't actually end up using Browserbase or asking me for a Browserbase API key. So it's not like you can just like tell it to do something and it'll always have like the perfect output. Like I'm probably after this video gonna go back and forth with this real ops agent and make sure that it's using like the right type of like web browser or web scraper in order to make sure that I don't get banned and also make sure that it works properly. But even if you tell it in that first prompt, like you're gonna have to remind it again later. Maybe this is like the argument for why people have these like super long like system prompts, or not system prompts, but like super long like product requirement documents that they put together. But maybe that's why they do it. But yeah, the agent does veer off and kind of do its own thing sometimes. So don't believe anyone that tells you everything just gets one-shotted. Okay, you're like running into some issues with Callix here. Okay. So having some issues with the Callix API right now. So let's go figure that out. In my other tab right now, I'm looking through the API documentation right now. v1/calls. So let me go ahead and check the docs to see if there's a v1/calls. This is the exact URL that I got from the API documentation. Try using the local API key and testing it against this URL. No, the transcription didn't work. Whatever, screw it. See what happens. All right, let's take a look on this real ops one. Yes, please switch and run the analysis. Ta-da! So the issue was it had the wrong URL from an old Callix skill that I had created. Actually, before you switch it over, can you test it from the command line first to make sure that that is the one that we should be hitting? Or else we're going to waste a lot of time. Oh, that is what happened. No, it broke again. Okay, I'm digging through the API docs right now. That is so strange. I'm going to grab my API key from somewhere else. Oh, I guess I need to create a new one again. Developer, API keys, new key. I know this is like incredibly boring, but this is honestly what it takes to make agents sometimes. It's really just like good old-fashioned software development. Callix key, secure note, save. I'm just gonna paste the key in here because I'm gonna rotate it later, so tough luck if you try to steal it. Please just do it for now because we are going to we're going to rotate the keys, so don't worry about it. Just test it and make sure it works. Okay, so I'm going through this real collector thing right now. It seems to be working okay. Oh, it's running one right now, which is why it won't let me. But we got some partials here. Let's take a look at all these snapshots. It's not fully there yet, but we're getting close. Let's go back to this one. Oh no, so now the Callix API stuff is not working for me. Let's go back to the okay, there's also an MCP. So for some reason that Callix API is not working. I'm just looking through the docs right now. See what happens when I give it the full link. Cool. All right, let's see what we did with this real ops agent. We discovered 12 reels, applied 5-second pauses between each, selected the latest reel correctly despite pinned post, extracted timestamp, views, comments, caption, and title, persisted the snapshot in SQLite, and returned valid, structured, ND JSON throughout. The latest extracted metrics. Cool. Very cool. So it does technically work. We're getting blocked, so we'll probably have to switch how we're accessing the browser session. But overall, we have a pretty good start on the Instagram agent, or the real ops agent. So let's jump over to this one. Let's say Callix calls are working. Oh, we're using the wrong endpoint. Okay, so please switch then. Switch to the analysis, not the calls. Please. Thank you. And let's make sure this works. Get it to work. Please. So this one's almost done. I think once we switch it over, we'll be fine. I want to get both of them working in this video. I mean, we're also like 56 minutes in, but I still want to get it working. All right, guys. Let's see. Moment of truth. So as you guys can see, like, I don't really get why people are saying like you can just one-shot things. I still think there's quite a bit of back and forth. And as you saw in the earlier example, like the model did kind of hallucinate and not do what I told it to do. Like I told Codex to use Browserbase. Like if you see in this Callix example, like it made a slot for me to put my Callix API key, and I had to go put it in, and it tried to get the docs. I got the docs poorly, but it still got the docs. But with the other session, when we were trying to build like that real ops agent, like it ignored my instruction to potentially use Browserbase, or at least give me options on if we should. So there's still quite a bit of back and forth that's required to get these agents to work, but once you do get them to work, I mean, it could be a massive unlock for you. So yeah, this is a really long video, and I'm hoping like you guys learned something related to agents. And I don't think I'm going to stick around until this one finishes, because I'm going to make sure I retire that API key and rotate it. So if you learned something, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. There's like a bunch of useful links in the description too. Make sure to check them out. Peace.